there's a class action lawsuit against e.l.f., the Uoma Beauty situation has gotten very messy, and Tarte is being tacky again. Today I'm reviving an old series. I used to do this beauty news style of video pretty consistently, but I haven't in a while, but I'm thinking about bringing it back because there are a lot of things happening here in the beauty space that I'm excited to talk about, but they don't always make sense to dedicate a full video to. So this is a fun place to talk on a lot of different things, both trends and industry topics. So that's what we're gonna do today. But before we jump in, there is a sponsor on today's video. I am so excited about today's video sponsor because it is Current Body. You have probably heard me talk about this mask before. I actually did a review of this in my most recent speed reviews. And I have to say, when that video went up, there were no talks of like a sponsorship or anything on the table. I was the one that reached out to them about this sponsorship because I love this mask so much. It has become my favorite part of my skincare routine. Red light in particular was something I wanted to experiment with for a long time because there is extensive research about the benefits of red light for your skin. And this right here is the Series 2 LED mask from Current Body. And one of the coolest parts is this card that comes in your box because Current Body is the only LED mask on the market that offers this. They check every single LED that goes into the mask and you can see the score for your individual mask on this card. And it ensures that all the LEDs are working at the most precise wavelengths, which is important for best results. Because they own end-to-end manufacturing like that, they have the information on every single step of the process and they share it with you. I use this every single night, which at first I thought was gonna maybe be a nuisance. It's a 10-minute process, but it's actually seamlessly fit into my routine because it's a mask. It's not something I have to like sit down and do. I tend to keep this on at nighttime when I'm doing my like end of day chores, just like putting things up, tidying the apartment a little bit. I'm wearing this mask. And the results that I saw from this mask from just 1 month of use were pretty significant. So these are my before and after photos that I shared in that previous review from just 1 month. But I also want to share some updated photos of what my skin looks like now that I've been using this mask for about 2.5 months. And the biggest difference that I see between those original photos and what my skin looks like now is the brightness and the texture in my skin. Like I can literally feel the difference when I'm washing my face at night. It just feels smoother. So if you're interested in the Series 2 or anything on the Current Body website, I do have a discount code. It's KELLYG. It will get you 10% off. Thank you so much to Current Body for working with me on today's video. And let's jump in. Okay, we're gonna kick things off right away with the most confusing topic we're gonna talk about today. You've probably seen some headlines that Skin by Kim was acquired by Skims. And everyone is like, I don't get it. Kim bought her own brand? Yes and no. Well, actually more so yes, but let me explain. So to understand the story, we have to do a really brief background here. KKW, Kim's original beauty brand, was started by Seed Beauty, which is an incubator. They also started ColourPop and her sister's brand, KELLYG Cosmetics. Well, a few years ago, Coty acquired KKW and KELLYG Cosmetics. They have only held a 20% stake in KKW, but this entire story got a little bit messy around this time because Seed was then suing for misappropriation of trade secrets, which in the context of this story means that Kim and Kylie could not use those same formulas that they were making previously now that they were acquired by Coty. So both sisters ended up totally rebranding their companies. That's why they both kind of like shut down, came back out. It was very confusing. And with Kim, she relaunched from KKW to her new brand SKKN, Skin by Kim. But even under the new name, we still have that 20% from Coty. So what has happened now is that they have bought Coty out and Skin by Kim is now going to be under the Skims umbrella. Kim says that uniting everything under one brand helps to streamline everything, and they've talked about some future plans of doing going a lot of different directions, you know, fragrance, makeup, skincare, everything, which makes sense because in the past she has sold these products through her different brands. But this entire conversation brings up the idea of the many Kardashian businesses, Kardashian/Jenner businesses, shall I say. And this is not the first time that things have gotten confusing and messy. And there's something about having so many businesses by the same family where they're almost kind of cannibalizing each other. Like looking at the audience for the original version of KELLYG Cosmetics and KKW Beauty, like that is the same consumer. And we've seen them kind of try to reposition Skin by Kim as something entirely different from Kylie's skin. You know, we see this very elevated price point. these very luxe bottles. But I still don't know if there's enough differentiation between all the siblings' many brands. But at least now that they're categorizing them under the same umbrella, like these are all gonna be part of Skims, things feel a little bit more intentional instead of this just discombobulated web of Kardashian companies. The silly little names are not going anywhere in 2025. You thought we were done with Tomato Girl and Cold Girl and all the named beauty trends? Well, think again. A few we have recently seen include almond milk hair. I saw a headline from Glamour about almond milk hair being the color right now. I thought that it was satire. I was waiting to click into the article and have it be about this naming pattern being comical, but no, the entire article was in earnest, and they were talking specifically about Lindsay Lohan's hair, and these were actually her words, not even Glamour's. This was her caption to her photo, "Glam o'clock, almond milk hair." And just for a little laugh, I want to read this quote to you. After experimenting with churro hair, the actor has moved on to almond milk hair, a much paler and cooler shade of blonde than her previous one. Okay, you heard it here first. Apparently, almond milk hair is the new hair color. And be sure that you pair that with your soap nails. Allegedly, that's the newest nail trend that's been pretty big in the first portion of 2025. What are soap nails? It's basically clear nail polish, like a pinky, milky, clear shade. Okay, e.l.f. What is going on with e.l.f.? I know I mentioned in the beginning a lawsuit. Well, here's the story. According to Muddy Waters research, e.l.f. has been overstating their revenue. According to a report they released, e.l.f. may have inflated its revenue by $135 million to $190 million over the past 3 quarters. These allegations are based on import data analytics and discussions with the company's global shipping partners, suggesting discrepancies between reported sales and actual product availability. e.l.f. later responded to this, denying these allegations and calling out Muddy Waters at an attempt at short selling. They write, Muddy Waters' latest report is an attempt by a noted short seller to negatively impact e.l.f. Beauty's share price for its own benefits at the expense of all other e.l.f. Beauty shareholders. And Muddy Waters' allegations are without merit. Muddy Water has made numerous inaccurate statements about e.l.f. and our business by relying on incomplete data and flawed assumptions, omitting critical context, and presenting speculation as fact. So that's what both parties are saying, but what is up with this class action lawsuit? Well, it's attempting to recover losses for investors who were allegedly negatively affected by this misrepresentation of revenue. That being said, I will keep an eye on this and let you know what happens. One that I saw with my own eyes the other day is a new brick and mortar store from Hourglass. They've previously had 2 stores, but they closed during the pandemic, but this past year they did a pop-up with Barney's, but they are opening a brick and mortar store in Soho. I passed by it the other day. It's not open yet, but it's coming soon. It's interesting to see a lot of beauty brands testing the waters with brick and mortar stores again, especially when there was such a big pivot away from them for a few years. A lot of consumers have transitioned to online shopping, but we're seeing brands test it out, and that's kind of what Hourglass has said in interviews about this store. It's something that they're gonna try, and they're not opposed to opening more stores in the future, but they're gonna see how this one does. Also, some exciting updates with Pat McGrath. She has been named the creative director of the upcoming makeup line from Louis Vuitton. And you might be thinking, what? Doesn't Pat McGrath have her own brand? But I'll tell you what, even with her own brand, things are getting a little bit messy. I'm actually not surprised to see her taking on a role in this new makeup company, considering what's going on with her beauty brand. So just to give even an overview on that, Pat McGrath Labs seems to be struggling. Business of Fashion says the brand founded by the legendary makeup artist nearly a decade ago is struggling. Once valued at over $1 billion, the line is worth a fraction of that today. In the year 2024 alone, they did 3 rounds of layoffs. They also recently launched the most bizarre collaboration with Candy Crush that felt weird and disconnected from the brand. The future of Pat McGrath Labs is a bit unclear right now, but it seems like now she will also be splitting her focus with this new beauty brand, which will be called La Beauté Louis Vuitton. The range will include 55 lipsticks, 10 lip balms, and 8 eye palettes. Pat says, the beauty universe is about so much more than just product, and what we are creating here will unlock a new level in luxury beauty. The Sephora VIB sale is about to start. It will start on the 4th for VIB Rouge, and then it will open to all other tiers on the 8th and will run through the 14th. I will be doing, obviously, my wrap-up video or like my VIB sale guide, as I always do. That is coming. I also have been testing a ton of new beauty products, and it's just going to be a great time for me to just update you on them, because some of them I don't think are worth picking up in the sale, but some of them I'm really liking. So that's probably going to be the next video you see on my channel. Stay tuned for that. They also just added some new sets to the site, and the one that is calling my eye the most is the Clean Me Up Makeup and Skincare Value Set. It has 8 products in it for $55, and 3 of them are full size, and I feel like there's some pretty big standout products in here, like the Merit Blush, like the LYS Contour Stick, the Tower 28 Mascara that I love, so I wanted to call that out. Again, the sale is coming soon, and I will be doing a full video. Another very confusing story is what the heck is going on with Uoma Beauty. This is a brand I used to love. When this brand first launched, the foundation was one of my absolute favorites, but there have been a ton of weird things going on behind the scenes with this brand for a few years now, and there is quite a big update currently. You might have seen some headlines that the founder is suing the new owner. So let me break it down. Sharon Shooter founded Uoma Beauty in 2018. A big driving factor in her creating this beauty brand was inclusivity and offering deeper and more expansive shade ranges than what was currently available in the market. The brand made a huge splash, and you might even remember the more affordable sister brand to Uoma Beauty, the more affordable side that they started. This was their, I'm gonna say, drugstore-ish brand. They launched that in 2021. Sharon Shooter was also the creator of the Pull Up or Shut Up movement, and she has been very influential in the beauty space. And in May of 2023, she shared that she would be stepping away. In an Instagram post, she wrote, she's decided to give up the suit for good and say farewell to the boardroom. She shared in an Instagram post what a toll the career was taking on her, both physically and mentally. She talked about being very sleep deprived, going days without sleeping. She talked about ending up in the hospital. She talked about being extremely exhausted and needing to take some time for herself. So she took what was supposed to be a medical leave. And there are a few other players in this story from both the venture capital and private equity side of things. And Brain Trust, which is a venture capital firm, started working with Uoma Beauty, and at the time that Sharon left for her medical leave, they stopped really fulfilling orders. The brand kind of went silent. They weren't doing anything. We started to hear from people that it had been months, their orders weren't shipped, they couldn't get any response from the brand. Now, during this time that the brand had gone silent, was not fulfilling orders, they were acquired by private equity firm McArthur. And Uoma Beauty was actually McArthur Fund's first beauty brand. Prior to this, their portfolio was mostly in cannabis and real estate. And after being silent for a while, this is what they finally posted on their Instagram. Hi there, beauty lover. Let us reintroduce ourselves. Last year brought sudden and unexpected changes for Uoma Beauty, resulting in the company closing in August 2023. In December 2023, the brand transitioned into new ownership, with McArthur Beauty stepping in to guide our next chapter. Over the last 10 months, we've been working behind the scenes to bring the brand back to life. Uoma Beauty may be under new ownership, but the mission and values of the brand remain the same. As we rebuild and reimagine Uoma Beauty together under the new team, we couldn't be more excited for the journey ahead. Big things are coming in 2025, and we can't wait to share what's next. And with that, we are caught up on the backstory, but what's going on now? So Sharon Shooter is suing McArthur, arguing that the sale was unfair, done privately at too low a price, and not handled properly. This was filed in February in a Los Angeles Superior Court. Now, remember when I shared that she stepped down due to a lot of health concerns? Well, when Allure reached out to Sharon Shooter in December of 2024, after the brand relaunched, she told them she stepped down because she felt, quote, there would have been friction between herself and Brain Trust Fund. The lawsuit also talks about how after her medical leave, Sharon tried to return as originally planned, but Brain Trust had basically shut down the business and then asked her to leave the company. Allure writes, the lawsuit Shooter filed against McArthur, Brain Trust, and Settle Funding last month asserts that as a condition of Series A financing, the first round of venture capital company receives, Uoma established a board of directors and gave one seat to Brain Trust. It alleges that after that, Brain Trust took control of Uoma's operations and ultimately pushed Ms. Shooter out of her operational roles. Now, considering all that, it feels completely disingenuous to hear the brand say that they want to continue on with that original Uoma Beauty mission, when so much of the brand identity is from Sharon and everything that she's done in the beauty industry and the impact that she's made in terms of inclusivity. To seemingly remove her and then attempt to carry on as business as usual, saying you want to carry out that same mission, is not sitting right with me. We will have to wait and see how this ultimately plays out for both Sharon and Uoma Beauty, but I am definitely curious to see, and I'll keep you updated. Okay, and the Tarte tidbit. I'm telling you, someone needs to audit the social media accounts of these brand founders, because this is what Tarte recently posted on their TikTok. Well, actually, excuse me, it was not Tarte. It was their founder, Maureen Kelly. She recently posted this to TikTok, and it has not been very well received. The comments say things like, "I'm never gonna buy Tarte again, what a tacky thing for your brand to do." And I get that it was certainly intended to be a joke, but I don't know if this was the right audience for it. It might have made more sense internally for the brand to laugh about it, but it's probably not something I would share publicly if I was the founder of the company. If there's one thing Tarte knows how to do, it is make themselves look terrible. But let me know, do you want me to bring this series back into rotation? Should I keep you updated more often with the beauty debrief? But thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Current Body for sponsoring today's video, and I will go ahead and see you in my next one. Bye.